part of this journey is learning about business through hard knocks. You know, I didn't go to business school or anything, and so kind of learning about wholesale and retail and getting into the mind of the potential buyer and what they want and what price points they are interested in spending money at or is easier to spend money at. And I was already selling my seashells at a local store in Camden, Maine, which is actually a place where a lot of tourists like to come in Maine. It's a wealthy town, and I had developed this new bowl idea that you'll see when you look at my stuff, and it turns out it was going to be laser cut. My first prototype I did with a scroll saw, actually, because I didn't know about lasers yet, actually. And so I found a local guy with a laser. I gave him some plywood. I had him cut my pattern for me. I made up a prototype and I took it to the local store that was selling my seashells. And I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? And she has been an industry expert for 30 years. I mean, she's gone to the trade shows in Philadelphia, New York, and Washington, D.C., and Atlanta. And she knows buyers all over the country and artists all over the country. And she's like, oh my God, I've never seen anything like this before. And when can I get some, you know? So we started selling some through her. And I didn't even know at the time about wholesale trade shows. And she said, well, you need to get your stuff in the Philadelphia gift show. So I went home and I Googled the Philadelphia gift show, and that's the actual name of a show that's in Oaks, Pennsylvania, called the Philadelphia Gift Show. So I signed up for it. It's expensive. It's like $2,000 for a 10 by 10 booth that's empty, and you got to bring your own tables and stuff. So I signed up for the show. I went to it, and I wrote about $4,000 worth of orders, and I was happy. I was like, this is phenomenal. I'm used to doing church craft shows, you know. And I came back, and it was just by chance, because I like to bounce ideas off from this woman, because she's so smart in that industry. I brought in a new idea that I had to show her, and I said, hey, what do you think about this? And she said, I thought you were going to sign up for the Philadelphia Gift Show. And I said, well, I just did the Philadelphia Gift Show. And she's like, the Philadelphia Gift Show isn't for another 3 weeks. And as she was talking about the Buyer's Market of America, which was in Philadelphia at the convention center. And I'm like, well, I said, I already spent my money, you know, my savings to get into the other show. And she said, you take my credit card and you get into that show. She said, you buy a booth, you buy your hotel, petty cash, whatever you need, you have to do this show. So I did the show. She said, we can work it out later. We'll trade, give me product in payment. And I did the show, and I wrote $25,000 worth of orders at that show.
Nice, nice. A little different than 4,000, although 4,000 we're grateful for, but 25,
Yeah.
like, wow.
Yeah. So it was like my own Shark Tank experience, kind of.
That's awesome. What a great mentor. And is this someone you had known for a while? Like I know you were doing the seashells for her, but she knew you before that, right? Local?
I just met her because she owned the store. Her store was called Once a Tree in Camden, and it was my favorite store in Camden because they had wooden, you know, wooden carvings and bowls, and I've always loved wood stuff, and so I don't know. She was the first place I went to when I was asking around on places to sell my seashells.